Hey kids, it's Bobo here, and you're listening to the wildest, most far out, wiggling podcast, Anime Egotists. We love you, beauty.
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where I don't know if anybody would want to make Titans out of us.
Nah, we'd be useless. We'd be the one with the big head but the too small body.
Yeah, probably. Anyways, my name's Alex, and as much as I'd like to own a gym in the Pokemon universe, it just seems like it'd be a lot to do. Like, you have to pay taxes and stuff. No thanks.
That's actually, unfortunately, seems like one of the more boring jobs. Even though you get to battle, you don't get to explore the world, so. And I'm Richard.
That's correct. And a lot of the times on this channel, we talk about our favorite anime, or even anime that we like, or sometimes anime that we hate. But we don't always know how we're going to feel going into watching a new show.
Exactly. And a lot of times, we find something that seems really interesting for us. I feel like we do enjoy it. But that's not what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, Richard gets kind of sensitive sometimes. He doesn't like when anime are shoved down his throat, because a lot of times, in Richard's defense, if an anime is shoved down your throat, it's not nearly as enjoyable.
Yeah, you're told that it's a masterpiece, it's perfect, and I mean, sometimes it can be, but other times it feels like you go into it with such high expectations that you're just destined to be disappointed.
That's correct. So we're going to talk about the anime that, in our opinion, are just a little overhyped. Now, some of these shows I actually like. It's just a matter of, it's not the end-all be-all like other people have. If you love these shows, if they're your favorite, that's awesome. But these are just the ones where it's like, they're good, not great, or I guess some of them could even be awful.
Yeah, I've got kind of a mix. I've got some that I've actually watched most or all of, and some that I've watched part of and just went, this one isn't as good, or...
Alright. May I start us off?
Go right ahead.
Alright. The first somewhat overhyped anime on my list, Hitman Reborn.
Okay.
Alright. Everybody I knew was telling me just how cool of a mafia show this was. As the main character Suna gets powers, he joins a mafia. He uses like fire and stuff to fight people. He's fun to play as in J-Stars, but when you first watch the show, you don't really get that. You get more of a slice of life feel mixed with kind of the action. And coming from someone who loves slice of life, I don't know, it never fully sat well with me how people were telling me, oh, just give it 60 episodes. I'm like, 60 episodes? That's a lot. You can't sell me on a show when you tell me to skip it. Skip a good chunk of episodes. Don't get me wrong, the slice of life stuff and the slapstick can be funny, but it's not what I initially watched the show for. The show's not bad. The show gets a lot better, but when people tell me the first 60 episodes, it drops it a good bit for me.
Yeah, the idea of having to wait such a long time to even to get to any part that I would consider good, or the part that I would really want to see and enjoy, no, no, thank you. I have too many other shows to watch and not enough time to sit through 60 episodes that aren't entertaining.
It's not even that. I wouldn't even say it's not entertaining. It's just like I'm like, I I have nothing for this because it wasn't at all what I was expecting.
Okay. Yeah, I can agree. I haven't given uh Hitman Reborn a shot yet, but it's one that I always thought about, but it's like Fate Stay Night or um Lycoris Recoil. I have a lot of on my list that I want to watch, but I just haven't made the time yet.
Don't talk about Lycoris Recoil on this list. I will come over there. Look, also, a little fun fact, apparently they're just now starting a dub for Hitman Reborn, and the baby Reborn is voiced by Veronica Taylor, so I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that.
Interesting. I, Again, this is one that always it sits on my Crunchyroll list, and it's like way down because I added it like when I first got Crunchyroll and haven't watched it.
Yeah, there are a couple of shows like that. But like I said, it's not a bad show. It actually gets pretty entertaining. But when you tell me skip the first 60 episodes and you keep telling me it's the greatest thing ever, something's gonna give.
All right. Yeah. All right. So this is so my first one. All right. So this is what I think we both probably have similar feelings on. I put Boruto on my list.
Thought about it, didn't put it on my list.
I put it on here because, in all honesty, we just came through the war arc. We just got all of the I forgot what they called them, but it was those like mini movies that we got at the end of the series that told really cool stories. I thought, oh, this is, well, mostly several cool stories and some okay ones. And I thought, okay, we're gonna get some interesting characters. The movie came out telling the tuning exam arc, and I was disappointed. I didn't really like Boruto. I was like, okay, maybe the show will make him better. And they did. I don't like Boruto, in all honesty. I think he's the main part of the reason I don't like the series.
I have heard the show, or at least the manga, does get a lot better. And to because I don't want to be too hard on the show, but I think the problem is that it came out way too soon. Like I was in class, well, yes, I was in class watching anime. I was watching the final episodes of Naruto. I watched like the penultimate episode, and then I came back and watched the last episode with you. And then it's immediately like, hey guys, Boruto's coming in like a couple months. I'm like, a couple months? You sure you don't want to like take some time and think about this? This is happening a little too fast. We just got done with the war arc.
Yeah, this feels like something that, again, let Naruto sit. It's over, and we can jump into Boruto 5, 6, 7 years down the road when a lot of the fans who grew up watching Naruto are probably having kids that some may even be getting to that age where they start finding interest in anime, and that could be an interesting way to connect. Is you get to see the characters you grew up with as adults now, and then have new characters that have a different perspective. And but they didn't do that because it came out so fast. I think that doesn't help as well. But at first I was hyped. I really wanted to like this show, but it was a lot to try to watch.
Plus, it's like I've said before, they decided to add more characters rather than develop the characters who had been there for years and still had not gotten that much development. That didn't help. That didn't help for me personally.
Yeah, and I can understand adding new characters because it's a completely different generation, but then they needed to focus heavily on a certain set of them and not necessarily have one-off dedicated episodes that are dedicated to Sai or yes, did they deserve it? Yes, because we loved them in Naruto and Shippuden, but they didn't get that much time, unfortunately.
Yeah. Then again, my problem with a lot of the kids was the kids were a little too similar to their parents. Like based on the little we've seen of Boruto, how is Shikadai all that different from Shikamaru?
Well, I mean, if anyone's seen that family, they're all shadow clones.
I believe it.
Tell me I'm wrong. They all are shadow clones of their father.
Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, plus the idea that they all have kids right around the same time is a little head scratching. Like, did they plan it that way? I don't want to think about it. Never mind.
Yeah, to all be the same exact age is also a little weird. Not even to have like one or two that are a year different, or like there could be a few that are a couple years younger, a few that are a couple years older, but no, they're all the exact same age.
And people wonder why I don't want this for Pokemon. Seriously, I don't want time skips with people having kids.
Yeah, and maybe it's a cultural thing, and that a lot of Japanese people may have kids all at the same time, but no, not here. So
yeah, but I can co-sign though. Oh, a lot of people told me though it's getting better. I'm happy they're enjoying it though.
yeah, as I said, if you like it, you like it, but the anime I'm not a fan of.
I can understand.
All right. So your next one?
Attack on Titan.
I almost put that on my list.
All right, I put it low on the list because there is a part of me that enjoys it. I mean, I buy the video games. I've played the video game for hours. Part of me has to enjoy it a little bit if I'm putting myself through that. But I don't know. To me, it's just very much a case of, oh, everybody's dying on a repeated level. At some point, the shock value kind of starts to go away. I know there are shows like Dragon Ball where people are like, man, I wish more people would die because not enough people, because like very few, if any, people stay dead for long. But this is almost, it's kind of the opposite here. A lot of people die. So at some point, you stop connecting with them. At least for me, like if you build them up and then kill them, it's cool. But when I was first watching, everybody I liked was like, oh, I like it. Oh, he's dead. Oh, she seems good. Oh, she's dead. Oh, what's the point?
Yeah, I really remember enjoying this when it first came out with season one, but season two took quite a while to come out, and then I I seem to remember season three came out a little bit faster, and then season four ended up being 100 episodes long, and I was like, season four, part 10 is coming out soon. Second to last climax episodes. It's like, okay, I've lost interest in this at this point.
Yeah. Not to mention the show. Look, I haven't fit like I know what happens at the end, but at some point, like it seemed like it was less and less about fighting Titans and more about Aaron just going crazy, and he was never particularly my favorite character. So I'm like, okay, why do I care?
I can understand that. I mean, season one, he's definitely, I think, the best he's at, which is a little disappointing because he's not the best character, and still serving as the main character of the series. So yeah, I definitely understand why you put this on your list.
Yeah, I still enjoy it to an extent. If they ever make a third video game, I'll play it, I'll buy it, but I don't see it as a masterpiece like everybody else does.
I will co-sign onto that. I think that's the best way to describe it. I'm it's one of those I'll probably go back and watch it eventually, but I just all the hype over and how they did the releases, it just feels like they could have done this a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say though, I've met Mikasa's English voice actress. She's a lovely person, so I will throw that to them too.
All right, well that's good to hear. All right, so my next one.
Please.
So this is one I never finished, and I've talked about a few times on this channel. Irregular at Magic High School.
I don't think you've ever talked about this show on this channel, so now I'm curious.
Well, I've mentioned it at least, and the fact that I got started on it and then got really disappointed. And
Yeah, I
it
remember that
wasn't
day.
what
I remember that day. You were very upset.
it wasn't what I wanted. I think it becomes what I wanted it to, but when episode one focuses heavily on a brother sister relationship for a long time, that is very much inappropriate. At least that's what it feels like it is. I just didn't. I lost all interest in this show like right away. If I mean, I don't know. It just threw me off from what I was expecting to be this kind of cool. There's magic in the world, and the people are going to high school to learn it and all that. But then that relationship threw everything out the window for me, and I got so disappointed in this show. I haven't been able to go back and give it a second shot to actually try to make it past like the first episodes.
I still do want to give it a chance because part of it seemed like people have shown me scenes. They don't seem all that bad. So at least some scenes don't seem like, oh, this could be kind of cool. But I do agree. There's that part has turned me off. Like, oh, the brother and the sister seem a little too close for my liking.
I think the problem is, and I don't know how to put it. It being in so much of like the first episode, rather than focus on building the rest of this world, I think is my problem with it. And I mean, it must be good because they've got at least one or two other seasons plus a sequel series or a side series or something.
I mean,
So
just because something goes on for a long time doesn't mean it's good, but I get what you mean.
yeah, it must be watched enough and sell enough merchandise to be worthy of continuing. But
Yeah.
I put it on my list because I was actually very much looking forward to this. I think I even talked to you about it before it came out, and then I watched episode one and haven't watched it since.
Yeah, you that might have been one of the most upset you looked more disappointed than I've seen you in a minute when you first told me, like, yeah, I watched this show. Like, what happened? I'm like, oh, okay. I don't remember asking, but okay.
Yeah, so Irregular at Magic High School. Will I give it a shot? Maybe one day, but I have to get past that first episode.
I understand.
All right. So your next entry?
All right. I don't know how to feel about this one, so Hunter.
Okay.
I honestly don't know what it is with this show. Oh, Dawn and Killua seem likable enough. Kurapika and Leorios, oh, I really like them. I like the adventure aspect, but I don't know. There's something about this show that just doesn't fully connect with me. I don't have a problem with some of the fights seem cool, but I think part of the issue might be is when I first experienced it, I got all of these hype moments like Gon transforming and beating up this cat lady, or gone learning rock, paper, scissors, all this cool stuff. And then I'm like, thought this would have come a lot sooner. Because I'm sure once I get to that, it's going to be hype. But for now, it just seems like kind of just like a somewhat dark at times adventure series, but has some lighthearted stuff. It's not horrible. I actually find some episodes really, really good, but I don't think I'd call it a masterpiece, at least not where I'm at.
No, I enjoy it, but it feels kind of like generic shonen for at least the first part. Now, once the powers start getting unlocked and they actually go do a pretty good job of explaining that, it gets better. I still haven't finished the show, and I don't know if I ever will. I got to remember where exactly I got to the video game arc, I think.
Yeah. Now, like I said, like, would I ever say it's the worst thing ever? Absolutely not. But there are times I kind of just look at it and I'm just like, this is what people have been trying to get me into. Like, okay.
Yeah, but I can definitely understand that. It's I think my problem was when I was watching it, I was watching this right when the war arc in Naruto Shippuden was starting, Dragon Ball Super was getting hype, so I just didn't necessarily have all the time in the world to go and watch this series every time an episode came out, uh, or catch up where if I was behind. I can't remember when exactly this was coming out.
Yeah, I think we were both also watching Soul Eater at the same time, so Soul Eater kind of took priority.
Yeah, and I think I may have started One Piece about this time, or restarted One Piece once the um, time skip had finally started English dub again.
Yeah, like I said though, Hunter X Hunter, whatever you want to call it, like not the greatest anime of all time, but I'd still say there's stuff about it that's enjoyable.
Yeah, I tend to agree. All right, so my next one.
Please.
So this is one that I never watched as a kid when it was on Toonami, and when I gave it a shot a couple years back, it was fine. I found parts of it enjoyable, but it felt like a lot of Saturday morning cartoons where they go after something different or the same things kind of every single day.
Okay.
Inuyasha.
All right. Wasn't prepared for that.
As I said, I enjoy a lot of the character stuff, but there's also, but just, oh, Demon of the Week kind of thing or something. It felt very much similar to a lot of stuff that was going on at about the same time, especially in kind of Western cartoons where the first thing that came to mind was Shaolin Showdown. So this one, they're hunting the fragments of the little spear thing, and they all just transform the demon a little bit differently. So was it enjoyable? Maybe. I just when I was trying to watch it, I guess I may not be the right audience for this one. I just don't know.
I remember really enjoying it as a kid, but I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so there's a chance I've grown up a bit, but I don't know. It seemed to me at least I remember good things about it. Maybe not the greatest thing of all time, but I remember parts of it. I'm like, oh, I like him, I like her. She seems cool. I have fond memories of it.
The only reason I really put it on my list was because just remember seeing it on Toonami and going, maybe I'll watch that, and then never doing it, and then when I think it's whatever that Princess Half Demon show story coming out, which is like the sequel series to Inuyasha. I was like, okay, time to give this a shot, and I made it 20 episodes in, and it's like, okay, so nothing's really changed. They're still hunting these fragments, so I don't know. It didn't necessarily feel like they were making that much progress. And I know it looks like the thing shattered into a million pieces, so I can kind of understand that, but maybe if there had been more changes more quickly, maybe I'd be more interested.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't fully co-sign or even disagree with you because it's been so long, but I can understand where you're coming from.
And again, I watched this a long time after it came out, so maybe that has something to do with it as well. So
Probably.
all right. So your next one?
Puella Madoka.
Okay.
Okay, so when people try to sell me on an anime, I appreciate them telling me moments. I appreciate them telling me characters. But the one thing everybody kept telling me was, "Oh, the third episode where mommy ends up getting killed by that demon thingy." And as shocking as a moment of that is, as much as it gets your attention, everything after that's just kind of like I asked, well, what other parts of it? Like nobody seems to ever have an answer for it. It feels like the show has that one moment, and then after that, like it's just there. It's not horrible, but I just sort of feel like before and after the big moment, there's not really anything that I can fully invest in.
Okay. I really don't have much to say about this one, unfortunately, for you. So I mean, when you have that, you said the big moment's really early in the series, right?
Like episode 3, maybe episode 4.
And that's so like the entire series is about the aftermath of that and
Yeah,
like the
and all the
recovery.
girls are scared and miserable throughout the whole series. And I'm like, can look, I'm not going to tell you guys to lighten up because of everything you've been through, but like, could somebody crack a joke, please?
I mean, from my understanding, like recovering from trauma can be make really good anime. From my understanding, Violet Evergarden does a really good job of this, of overcoming trauma from a past event. But I don't know. Yeah, if the first few episodes are building up to this big moment, I don't know.
It just
I think
feels,
top it.
even after it happens, everything just kind of feels bleak, which I understand, but at the same time, it doesn't just because something's bleak doesn't always make it compelling. Is it horrible? No. Abysmal? Not even close. But it's just, to me, it's just like, it's just there.
Okay, yeah, I'll that I just don't know. Yeah, if they had, do they recover at all throughout the series?
I mean, they do, but then there's like different timelines and stuff like that to where I'm like, okay, now my head just hurts.
Ah, yeah, no, they make this up. They've just made it very complicated and doesn't give the characters a chance to
Yeah.
really
And
recover.
then the girl who's brutally murdered comes back at some point. But it's maybe I'll give it another chance someday because who knows?
All right. So my next one.
Please.
So I put this one on my list because I really enjoyed the first series. It's Cells at Work Code Black.
Okay.
So for some reason I really did enjoy Cells at Work, the original series, but this one takes place in a much less healthy body with um that eats too much junk, smokes. There's all sorts of issues, and I don't know, just something about it just made me feel that there. I don't know. It seems so much more bleak by comparison to the other version, which I kind of understand what they were going for. It's like, here's what happens when you take care of your body, and this is what your body's supposed to be able to do. Now here's what happens when you don't take care of your body, and all of that. And here's this. Here's similar characters that do this stuff. I don't know. It just, I don't know, it felt like changing like a. I'm trying to think how to put it. It's like adding very dark moments to a episode of Bill Nye, like where you got to learn all this different science behind what your body does in the first series. This one's like, okay, now you're dying. Here you go.
I still haven't seen this show, but I can understand that. And based on the fact that nobody has told me anything about season 2, it makes me wonder, was it worth it?
Well, I think Cells at Work has the second season, but Code Black is technically a separate series.
Yeah, a separate series. No one's told me about this other series though.
Yeah, I think they kind of slipped it in, and while Cells at Work actually I think was pretty popular, I don't think Code Black ever reached that same popularity.
Yeah, but I can co-sign. Maybe I'll give the show a chance, but just I'm watching too much of new stuff right now.
Yeah. All right. So first honorable mention for you?
Yeah. Oh boy, I might get some heat for this. Mashle.
Okay.
All right, look, I'm still watching the show. I'm still enjoying it, but I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's more of a worry I have of, this guy uses bronze instead of actual magic like everybody else. Mash himself it's pretty likable, but at some point I'm kind of like, yeah, is the joke running out for me? Because it just feels like the same thing every single time. The rest of the characters for the most part seem kind of cool, but I don't know. I just feel like as I'm watching it, I'm getting more and more worried that the joke's gonna run out for me.
I can understand that because I don't know. I've reached part of season 2, and it's now more widely known that he doesn't have magic, and it's like it feels like there should have been more anger at him or fear of someone who's doesn't have magic in this world where you're killed if you don't have magic. Is there should have been something more substantial, and it's like, oh no, we need him for whatever this is, so we're just gonna like put his trial on hold for now before we execute him.
Yeah, and I can understand the humor, and people tell me, oh no, it just gets funnier every single time. But I don't know. There are parts of me where I'm like, There are parts of me where it's like I feel like if he was a side character doing all of this, I would be loving it because it would be in smaller doses. But then again, I don't really know who I'd say, well, who should be the main character instead? I don't know.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is that this series feels very much like every fight is the equivalent of Goku versus the Ginyu Force, where they all have special abilities. They're the fastest in the universe, can stop time, and oh well, Goku's super strong and just kicks their butt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm still pretty early into it. It could end up being one of my favorite shows ever. But for now, I'm just kind of like, I mean, no, I don't want to watch another episode right now.
Yeah, and I understand that. I kind of watched this. I watched season 1 every every episode as it came out. So I got it in little like one episode bursts instead of watching it all at once. And I have waited on season 2 and just haven't had the energy to sit down and binge it. So
Yeah. Yeah. But Mashal, maybe it'll end up being one of my favorites. But right now, it's not sitting great for me.
okay, all right. So my first honorable mention. So this is one. I don't know why I actually got hyped for this one. It was a couple seasons ago, maybe a year ago. Banished from the hero's party, I decide to live a quiet life in the countryside. It seemed like it was going to be it was kind of the first one that I remember coming out where the protagonist wasn't the kind of hero for the world, but he's the brother of the sister who's the hero. And I thought this could be really interesting because he's trying to live a quiet life. It's like, okay, how's he going to get um, back in with the hero and all that and help them, or is he going to turn on them? What's going to happen? And it had potential because they had this kind of advisor wizard character for the hero that is the one who sent the brother away, and the sister's kind of losing her emotions because the job as hero means that she has to become the perfect warrior to defeat the demons. And there's so much potential for there to be where she's being influenced incorrectly by this advisor and all that. and there's a little bit of that at the start, but that goes away very quickly. And they focus a lot on the slice of life aspect in the countryside, so he's teaching stuff. It has a lot of potential, and I think it even got a season 2, but I got bored with this one.
Is this the one where the guy's farming?
I mean, he
Was there an
does.
episode about him farming with people?
I believe so.
And are all the people he's farming with a bunch of women?
Like I think there's like 2 people. So I
Okay.
don't. I think you're thinking of a different
I might,
show.
I might be. I'll probably know the name the second I see the ad on YouTube because I'm always seeing ads for it. But I can kind of understand that. That's similar to Hitman Reborn. For me, you kind of went into it thinking you were going to get one thing, but you ended up getting something else.
Exactly. They, yeah, there was a lot of potential because of what I saw beforehand of thinking that, oh, it's going to be this dark, mysterious. The brothers hiding in the countryside, trying to figure out how to help his sister or something, and that's not necessary. He actually views it in the series that he's helping her by stepping away from her. He actually believes what the manipulative magic advisor is telling the uh, heroine. So it's like, I don't know. There's this show had potential, but I just didn't find it the most enjoyable.
Yeah, I can understand. I can co-sign.
All right. So your next honorable mention?
All right, we've talked about it before. Solo leveling.
Okay.
I tried, guys. I really did try with this show. I watched every week. I listened to people talk about it. I looked up at other information that wasn't in the show. I was so bored by this show. Oh, like I actually felt bad because I was at dinner with some friends once, and they were all talking about, oh, how amazing solo leveling is. I'm like, I don't really get it. Like, oh, wait till the last episode. Wait till you hear Arise. And I sat through the last episode. I'm like, this didn't necessarily make me want to check out season 2. It's just for like I know the show's called Solo Leveling, but the show's really about the main guy, Jin Woo. And I'm like, okay, but what about everybody else? Well, it doesn't feel like he's struggling that much, so I don't really feel bad for him in a sense. Hence, none of the other characters seem to be doing anything, so I can't get invested in them. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I know we talked about it before, which is why it's an honorable mention, but I got bored by it.
I can definitely understand that. I think I enjoyed a little bit more than you do. Is it the masterpiece that I think a lot of people have said it is? Like it's the best of its kind of genre of kind of isekai, kind of not. No. But I don't know. A lot of the stuff in the season 1 was very kind of, oh, this is what's going to happen. Like when he goes with those other hunters into the world and they are like, oh, well, they're going to mine all this, then we'll kill them and take all the stuff ourselves. It's everything kind of is obvious.
Yeah. It just feels like, in a sense, there's kind of a lack of I don't know. It feels like there's a lack of humanity and emotion to it. Like it's just like, oh well, this person's gonna die. I'm gonna be selfish. It's like I don't know. It's a very bleak show, and I don't real. And at least with Attack on Titan, like in moments where like, oh, they blocked the wall with the boulder. Oh, that's really heroic. Or this person actually did end up living. That's cool. But soul leveling just feels like even when the hero wins, it still feels super bleak.
I can kind of understand that. I know he went through a lot of traumatic stuff, but it feels like even the people that are supposed to be his friends and family don't try to reach out to him as much as you feel they should to try to help him because you got to realize like how traumatic of an experience he went through, and his sister doesn't really understand. The female protagonist leaves so early on in the series. It's like, okay, well, there's that, and then the other guy that's kind of the best friend partner in the uh, guild that they created is, I don't know, he's just kind of there for the money and the fame.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's that other, I'm not going to pretend like I remember her name. There's the blonde woman who seems like a badass, but also seems kind of closed off and shy. I'm like, oh, I kind of like her. Oh, she's in like less than 2 episodes. I don't know. And it's like I've said before 100 different times before. It doesn't matter how good the story is. If I can't get invested in the characters and the people themselves, then I'm not going to enjoy the show.
I can definitely understand that. I mean, I'm gonna probably watch season 2 when it comes out because I know that's already been announced and all that, but I can understand why you wouldn't necessarily feel you want to.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll
let you know
probably
if maybe the characters develop more and you might be interested in that.
I'll probably let you go first, and then you'll let me know. But I hope it gets better. But and though, to be fair, a lot of people have even said, "Man, solo leveling is not that great." But that's it for me.
Okay. All right. So my next one.
Please.
So this is one that was actually hyped by, I think it was Toonami when it premiered, that it was going to be the next big anime, and it ended up being disappointing. Blue Exorcist.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this when it first came out. I The ending did feel rushed, but I didn't know that it was an anime original ending when they did the first season. And the fact that they had waited so long for season 2 to come out, which was I think the Kyoto arc, and I think they like last year released season 3 finally. It's been over a decade, I think, since Blue Exorcist originally premiered. So, and again, I don't know if uh, the manga writer is got health issues or family issues or something that maybe causes delays in him writing, which I completely understand that. But if he's had all these parts of the story out, then it feels like they could have done this a lot better.
I understand to an extent. I also kind of feel like we don't know how it goes behind the scenes. Like we've heard stories as to why Zatch Bell hasn't been like fully released. He's
Hmm.
like, I feel like there's so much to an extent that we'll never fully know, as in the business side of things. But I can't understand, especially waiting so long just makes you go, okay, was the wait worth it?
Yeah, this is a series that I'd have to, by the time season 3 came out, I would have to go back and watch the canon parts of season 1, then watch the Kyoto arc just to be able to remember what all happens in the last part because I really don't remember because it's so long between seasons, and then I also have to try to put aside what is the anime original ending from the first season because I know there's parts in like some episodes that have canon stuff, but then there's parts of those episodes I think that have stuff that's supposed to lead into the finale. So that kind of messes up some stuff.
That would just make my head hurt, honestly.
Yeah, because I think they introduced characters that either don't exist in the manga, but they make appearances in the anime. It's just weird, confusing from what I remember.
Yeah, I can understand that. I have heard actually I've heard nothing about the newer season.
I really haven't either, and I think I don't know if that means that it's good or bad. I just don't know.
Yeah, but then again, at least the hype wouldn't necessarily ruin it for you.
Yeah, but I do remember though when this was premiering, it was hyped as this is the next big shonen anime. It's gonna replace Naruto and all that. I think they even were talking about that, and then it was nothing happened.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt with that, but I don't remember that.
It was advertised constantly because I think this was towards the end of Toonami's original run. I think was when it first premiered. I don't remember 100% anymore.
But yeah, I can understand where you're coming from though.
All right, so your next, or I guess final honorable mention.
Gleipnir.
Okay, this is that one that has the funny fox wolf mask thing as the
Yeah, oh, I thought it was gonna be funny. It was not. But even so, oh, the main character is able to transform into like you said, this fox mascot thing. And he is not really able to control his pet. He's not really able to fully control it. At the same time, though, he gets kind of blackmailed by this woman named Claire. And my problem with this is like, I don't feel, and how do I put this? My problem with this is nobody really feels likable. You don't feel that bad for the main character because it's like, dude, you're a magical fox thingy, and you can't, and you're scared of using your powers. You don't feel sorry for the girl Claire because she kind of seems vindictive and manipulative. And I don't, and like, if the two main characters aren't that likable, how is the rest of the series supposed to be interesting to me? Because I still haven't finished it, admittedly, but I'm just like, wow, I'm a handful of episodes in, and I still don't like anybody in this show.
Yeah, that would, especially for you who really requires to enjoy the characters to enjoy the story. If you can't like any of the characters, I can definitely see why you would not like any of this series.
Yeah. And I guess the thing is, even when I see him fight, it's not even like, oh, he has super strength. It just feels like he's a regular person who looks like a giant fox. And I'm like, wow, this is super lame. It's like if you see a really cool Pokemon and then look at its stats and see its stats are nothing, which I don't do. I just catch Pokemon and whether they're what that I like, whether their stats are good or not. But you understand what I mean. You're just kind of like, huh, nothing really feels all that special. And I kind of dislike everybody in this show.
Yeah, I could definitely see why. This is one that I always remember seeing on different sites and stuff and going, that looks like it could be really entertaining. And it, but I've never heard, you're the only person I think I've ever heard talk about it. And it's, your reviews have made me just go, I don't want to watch this right now. It's always, as I said, it looks like it could be really interesting and a lot of fun, but everything I hear is from you and not good.
And the crazy thing is, I don't hear anybody talking about this show either. People are just like, "Oh, Gleipnir, oh, no one says anything about it."
Yeah, I'll co-sign it. I, I mean, maybe one day I'll see if I have a different feel for the show, but I as I said, just this one's so low on the list that I have no reason to watch it right now at all.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe someday I'll change my mind, but it's not for me.
Did you actually finish that one or no?
No, like I said, I still haven't finished it. But like I said, I'm far enough into the show where I'm like, I don't think you're going to turn me around in the last like what 2, 3 episodes. If you, yeah.
All right. So my final honorable mention, Twin Star Exorcist. This is one
Okay.
that was, I think, when Toonami came back on Adult Swim was released, and I was like, okay, this could be kind of interesting. It's a shonen, male and female protagonist that exercise some form of demon. I don't remember what their name is, but eh, it's supposed to be, I guess, kind of opposites attract. You've got the male character who doesn't want to be an exorcist at all, but is like gifted to be one of the best of the exorcists, and the girl is another one. I can't remember if she's gifted or if she's such a hard worker, but they're selected by this group of exorcist leaders to be the twin stars, which are supposed to give birth to the savior. So it's the couples forced together story, and their opposites are supposed and are kind of supposed to attract it. It's yeah,
Oh,
just
oh yeah, because I enjoyed that so much with Nisakoi.
yeah. So just I don't know. It was a lot to cram into this series, and again, I seem to remember the male character being very like, whiny about not wanting to be an exorcist, and complaining a lot, and I know that that's kind of that can be a trope of some shonen series where the male protagonist doesn't want to accept his fate as being the all-powerful hero, but here it just felt like, okay, we're doing this so that he's the opposite of the female lead.
Yeah, I can understand. I'm gonna be honest, until you said it, I forgot the show even existed. Or like, is there anything redeemable about it?
I seem to remember some of the action scenes being pretty good, but
Okay.
I only watched part of the series, so I never finished it. It was just I don't know, it wasn't for me. So
I can understand that. Maybe I'll give it a shot one day, and I can talk about what. Maybe I'll like it more. Maybe I'll hate. Maybe I'll downright hate it. But I don't know. Oh, upon remembering the stuff I've heard about, I'm kind of curious about it.
Yeah, it has some good moments from what I remember in this first few episodes, but I wish that there was more to kind of hook you right away, in my opinion, without that force. Like maybe there is some sort of, because I seem to remember it's just a ceremony that all the exorcists are at, and that's when they're somehow selected. I forgot how it happens. I almost feel like it's like the Dragon Warrior selection in Kung Fu Panda, where Po falls right in front of him, and that's how he's selected. But I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I watched this, so I don't really remember.
Hey, Kung Fu Panda, the best movie of all time. At least that's what I put on the paper. That's what I said in that paper I wrote in college. Got an A.
Yeah, again, could be completely wrong on that, but that's just what I remember. I was only a few episodes in, so I don't really remember much about this series. It didn't hook me. So
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand.
all right, so your last one.
Ugh. Okay, I've talked about this show before. I've given it criticism before, but I really want to try to be constructive and not like and not torn and not just tear it apart.
All right,
Bocchi the Rock.
okay.
All right. At first, when I first really started talking about the show, I talked about how Bocchi, in my opinion, I like her, but I also kind of dislike her. And I said that it felt like every minor convenience would just stumble her and stop her. And you said something that got me thinking. You were like, well, to some people, it really is like that. And I didn't phrase it the best way, so I'm gonna try here. To me, it's not that every minor inconvenience stomps Bocchi. To me, in my opinion, the problem with the show was it feels super comedic with how anxiety is portrayed. Like Bocchi will go through a problem. It'll get resolved within the next 2 minutes. She'll get nervous about something. Somebody will encourage her. At the end of the episode, she learns a lesson. Like, I don't know. I just feel like for something as unpredictable as anxiety and how it's treated, I feel like I'm trying to put this the best way possible because I don't think this is the intention. I don't think this is what they're actually doing. But there are times where I kind of feel like, are they promoting mental health awareness and how to deal with anxiety, or does it feel like they're making fun of it? Because there are times where a lot of people I know will be like, "Ha, that's so relatable." Ha ha. Look at how Bochi's reacting. I'm just like, this is I don't know. You have to write characters with anxiety a certain way, and I feel like she's written well, but she's also not written well.
I can understand that because I mean I haven't seen Butchie the Rock, so I don't really know how exactly they portray it. But if they, I'm trying to think of based on how you described it, it's she's not really recovering. It sounds like she's just kind of dealing with.
I guess to me, she just does. It doesn't feel like this is how a real person shows anxiety. Like like I said, they're probably not trying to do this. I'm probably reading way much into it, and I'm sorry for that. It almost kind of feels like a parody of anxiety at times, and it kind of is a turnoff in some cases for me because I like the other character. There's Kita seems cool. Oh, Rio's hilarious. It's PA song. Yeah, that's her name. That's her name. That's what they call her. She's cool, but I don't know. I just look at Bochi and I'm like, you're the main character, and I want you to do well, but you are frustrating me.
And when the main character, I mean, as we've said, I think throughout this entire series, it seems like a lot of yours deal with the characters not being enjoyable, which causes you to be disappointed by something that might have an interesting story
Yeah,
or
and look, I didn't want to get into this too much, but like, oh sweet God, like a lot of people love this show, and I respect that opinion. I think that's great, but oh my sweet God, people act like it is the second coming of Jesus Christ himself.
yeah, I don't know. This is one that I just haven't had any real interest to see because I mean, well, I think it does. From my understanding, it does have really good reviews. I've only really talked with you about it, and your recommendation just doesn't seem to be watch it.
Okay, all right. So, let me say, hey, the music's really good. Most of the characters are nice, and much like I've said with Watamote, it's nice that not a lot of people are picking on her for her anxiety. It's just people don't talk to her much about it. So it's easier to stomach in that regard. I just feel like I just feel like like if the show was about the band itself, I would love it. But the show is focused on her, and I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. I just yeah, with it, I don't know. It's as I said, it seems like with all yours, it has to do with the characters just not being enjoyable or having issue. You have an issue with the main character to.
Yeah. I love it. Is it a bad show? No, it's enjoyable, but I would never. But to me, I'm like, huh, anime of the year. I do not. I'm sorry, Bochi, not this time. If you can, but that being said, if it gets another season, I'd be willing to give it a chance.
Okay, so would you recommend actually watching it, or is it?
I would
That's what I've
recommend
been
at
trying to figure
least.
out from
I
you.
would recommend at least giving it a chance. I'm not saying avoid it like the play, like avoid it, but I'd say like me, if the first two episodes hook you, go for it. If not, then you might want to stop.
Okay, okay. Yeah, you've talked about this one quite a few times, so I'm just trying to, and most of the time it's been, unfortunately, it's just like negative. So I just wanted to see what your actual recommendation for it was.
I do want to talk about it more in a positive light because there are good things about it, but this isn't. Hey, these anime are good. These anime are good, but they're overhyped.
Yeah. All right. So my final one is uh Seraph of the End.
Not what I thought you were gonna say.
I I just kind of remember this one a little while ago, and I don't know, it has such an interesting premise, and I've tried watching this one twice now that I can remember, and made it through, I don't know, 10 episodes maybe into it or something. I don't remember exactly how far I made it in, but the idea of these vampire creatures causing a virus that kills all the adults and then taking all the kids to make them uh, pretty much a food source in their vampire cities seems like it could be really interesting and a lot of fun, but it I don't know. I just for some reason this one always seems to fall off for me about that uh, part way into the series where I thought there would be more to it, especially the first few episodes are really kind of interesting with the kids trying to escape from the vampire city and all the kids but the main character getting killed off, and then like the best friend turns out that he was actually saved by one of the vampires and turned into one of them. So there's just this feels like it had a lot of potential, and I don't know, something about it. I just keep falling off of it every single time. I can't pinpoint exactly what it is.
Yeah, vampires in anime for some reason never really sits well for me. Like it just feels like there are so many instances where like the vampires are all pretty boys, or it gets like unnecessarily more violent than it should be, or just I don't know. It never sits well for me.
Yeah, I and then the whole premise of, I guess, these young adults, teenagers using like this school to train each other to fight the vampires on the surface. I don't know. It feels like it has a lot of potential, but I don't. It just I can't exactly put my finger on it, and I don't know what it is. It's just I guess it's probably another one that's not really my style, and I've tried to force myself to like it a few times.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, well, I still haven't seen it. Admittedly, I keep getting confused for some other or show you watching. I think I got confused for Stigma of the Wind or whatever it was called.
That one I really enjoy, and I wasn't gonna put it on this list because the whole issue with that one is that the mangaka passed away early on into his creation, and they decided rather than end it in a different way because he didn't leave instructions on how to end the story, they just had it end where after his work was done.
Oh, I understand all of that. I just keep, for some reason, I just kept confusing the two together. I'm just like, is this what he's talking about? No, it's not.
Yeah, I that's one that I wish had continued, but I understand why they didn't, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And as for Seraph of the End, that's what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that much interest in it. Like, and you say you're about what, 10 episodes in?
Yeah, I remember there's some sort of ambush about this point, and the main protagonist finds out that the best friend is still alive, but now a vampire or a half vampire or something he's fighting with the vampires instead of humanity now. But I don't know, it feels like it had a lot of potential, but I seem to remember it being, and looking it up just now, it's actually listed as a drama series rather than an action series, and I think that may be the problem, because I seem to remember there's a lot of tension and you feel like they're leading into a battle, but there's several episodes where it's only a little bit of action, more character interactions, which could be really good, but it feels like that there should be a bit more action.
I can understand that. I can, like we talked about before, when it's something you don't expect, that could be a problem.
This is it. It has good reviews, so people may really like it, but it's just not my favorite thing, I guess.
Yeah, I can understand.
All right, but I think, are we ready to wrap up?
Sure. So, ladies, gentlemen, and others, what are some anime that got overhyped for you? Just an anime that a lot of people told you to watch, or you heard good things about, and you're just like, I mean, it's not really for me. There's no judgment. You can say whatever anime you want. Just let us know.
Yeah, and I mean, do you have any more like Hitman Reborn, where you say you have to watch a certain number of episodes and then it gets really good at episode 50, 120, whatever?
Yeah, and if there are any shows on this list that we've said we haven't completed, but you really like, let us know. Let us know if you're like, oh no, it really does get better. You enjoyed it from the start. Either way.
Yeah, as I said, some of these I do enjoy. It's just, I don't know, they weren't all perfect in my opinion, or great enough to consider a top anime I've ever watched.
Yeah, and that's all right. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. Be good to each other, and we'll see you next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.